Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the North American Star League Season 4 Grand Finals. We're over here in our last and semi-final. Who goes to finals? viOLet. The answer is right now. Game number 2, where Sortof is up 1-0. This guy is something.
In an amazingly standard, but just by the book, clean, zero mistake, flawless Zerg play. Sortof is now up 1-0 heading into map number 2 on Daybreak. Already 4 wins in a row against top Koreans.
Danon, I say this time and time again, it's so hard to be recognized for standard play because so many people do it, right? It's very easy for viOLet to get that big name out there. Not only is he successful, but he has this unique, aggressive style where he can do any build and it's successful, and it's really hard to train every single build, but sort of train the same, let's say 3-4 builds, and he's so successful. It really is a testament to his skill.
Well, the opponent is sort of spawning down in the bottom left corner, known for his unorthodox. See him there. Give a cheer for Azubu's viOLet.
And out of the open bracket, we have the Western Wolves player that shocked everybody here at NASL, defeating Hyun by a score of 3-0. He's now 1-0 up against viOLet. It is Sortof.
Mirrored builds out of the each player. Both players going for the early 14 hatch, and oh my God, Sortof is the barcode guy. That's him.
I played him before. I played his Protoss and his Terran.
He's like the top. He's the top 100 accounts on the Korea server. It's incredible dedication.
Called me a bad name. I don't know if I like Sortof anymore.
There he is, Sortof taking himself spawning pool. viOLet, I think, doing the play that I overhaul as that speed. You can put on pressure in a map with distances like this. Putting on that pressure is probably the strongest defense for an early third.
We can see a slightly later gas. I completely agree. I mean, Daybreak is a map where you can take risks like that, although I guess you would be a little bit scared against a player like viOLet, but you can take a little bit of risk knowing that you have that extra 5 to 10 seconds of travel time from your opponent. So get that earlier gas, no problem. That way you have the ability to scout, be aggressive, and if your opponent does something crazy, like you'll be looking really, really nice. So of course we don't see that very much in the pro scene, but it rises here and there.
Every now and again.
Yeah.
I think Startail Life is one of the purveyors of the 12 gas, 12 pool opening in this matchup. Really excellent if you have the best Zergling control in the world, which Life has.
Yeah.
That's the end of the sentence. He just has it.
It's a good talent to have. Best Zergling control.
Now, I want to ask you about what you think are the key things to consider when going up against Mutalisks as an infestor-based player. I mean, we can almost guarantee that we will see Sortof not go for Spire. He will be going for that. And viOLet does like Spire on this map.
It's difficult. In my experiences and of all the games I've casted, I feel like Mutaplay is the best play overall on this map. I just feel like it takes so much space, it takes map control, and I always view map control to be one of the most important things in ZVZ. To defend against it, you need like a hard defense. In the Hyun game, when Sortof went up against Hyun, he got a little bit lucky. Hyun really suicided all the mutants, then he had to remake them. This is always a losing line, but it was to the point where he had to remake them because of so many different threats.
Now, if viOLet's doing what I think he's doing, I love it. +1 carapace, fast third base, non-stop aggression. I honestly think it is my favorite way to open and then transition into Mutalisks. I mean, you get to put on this incredible pressure at the third. And given how often players take those early third bases, they have to rely on Baneling, and you have the superior Ling upgrades. It's really, really cool, but sort of consistent with his fast layer.
Especially against Sortof's style. Of course, he is a little bit weaker to this Baneling attacks in the beginning stages, especially with that +1 carapace. If you can delay that third a lot and force a lot of Zerglings out, and it'll force Zerglings, it'll force Banelings, and that's a lot of gas being taken away from potential infestors. So if you, boom, surprise them with slightly delayed mutas, even if it's 5, 6, 7, whatever it might be, it will be very successful against the third base. So I really, really agree with your assessment with the very fast +1 Carapace, really pressuring the third base, potentially pressuring the natural, but probably the third base, and then going macro from there.
Some more solid placement coming up from Sortof.
Yes, sir.
God, I love that little snip off of the creep tumor. Ran right up, picked it off as it was being laid, then darted out, so just snatched that 25 energy up. There's, again, the very early thirds, but this is nearly indefensible when your opponent's hurling a lot of lanes at you.
That's right. I think it's he's doing this in response to seeing the 2 gases at the natural. Most likely isn't going to taking the first 2 gases at the main base. There's not a lot of different openings where you can really do a ton of pressure, and it's super indefensible. So I think that's where his logic is coming into. But again, there are a wide range of builds that he's still able to pressure up. Infestation Pit. Wow, it's not going to be Spire Tech. I'm actually very surprised.
Ling Ultra. I mean, there's no indication of a Roach Warren incoming. +1 Carapace is, well, there's the Roach Warren going down right now, but still, it's looking very.
Now, if you're doing Ling Ultra, aren't you focusing more on the +1 melee? I know Scarlet does a variation of Ling Ultra that only gets melee attack.
Well, it's a little stronger in that circumstance. Where, I mean, right now, with all the pushing of this, certainly, this is exactly what you want to be doing as viOLet. This is what the +1 armor is for.
Oh, nice.
Even with the direct connection to the Banelings, these Zerglings are still doing huge damage.
Yeah, but now, currently with the Roach count, it's going to be a lot harder. But the fact is, there needed to be that Roach count. And look, he killed a lot of Roaches, so additional Roaches have to come out. That's potential drones. Income tab showing 53 to 46 Harvesters. You can already see just having those Zerglings on the field with that +1 Carapace forces more larvae to be committed to attacking or defensing units. And then he's able to pull away with the drone advantage. I really like what we're seeing.
There's no pathogen glands being researched by Sortof. He thinks he's already gotten it. There's the infestors popping out right now. I mean, this is a brutal error. This is going to just completely screw him up later on if he just does not get that more infestors on Sortof. Pathogen glands, he'll be all right, but +1 Zergling harassment, so effective.
So this is really the first time we're going to see Sortof be in a quite decisive disadvantage, right? I mean, not only is the pathogen glands that he doesn't have, but the infestor count, the economy is a little bit less. So let's see what his capabilities are. We've seen him play from ahead quite a few times now. Let's see if he has the skill, the caliber of play to get back into the game, get those little tiny spoons of advantages, and then obviously take the win. That's going to be a really big test for Sortof.
We're starting to see more and more patterns out of Sortof, and of course, fewer and fewer patterns out of viOLet, who's just always equipped to do anything. This little Roach push Sortof does consistently, game in, game out. And yet again, we see viOLet with a clever answer, already having these well-equipped, energy upgraded infestors there to greet him. Now, as the game goes on, as we start stepping into the long term, the first big thing that you must get on this map is a macro hatch. I mean, without that macro hatch, you just have too difficult a time defending these wide, spread out, sprawling base counts. We already see macro hatch going up for viOLet and a target to defend with this heavy macro. But in this position, I mean, we generally see Hydras popping out for Sortof, and I think that this is a map where I really don't like getting that many Hydras that early on.
He made it work against Hyun, but again, he's doing that timing where he gets a ton of Hydras, he has his infestors out for quite a long time, and then he just spews out a ton of infested Terrans, attacks from different angles, and with the slower infestor single Hydras as well to eliminate that DPS. So it's kind of an interesting timing when the fourth base is being taken by both these players. You can see the delayed fourth is a big indicator to viOLet that there potentially is some sort of timing push. If you're in this position, do you spine up? In viOLet's position.
You know, let me think for a moment. I probably would just maybe build some additional spines, but I'd be reassured from that changeling because I saw that there was no macro hatch up here. There's the contaminate there doing a little bit more damage. Oh, Burrowed Infestor play doesn't end up panning out, but I would be pretty comfortable in my position knowing, yeah, I'm probably going to be a little late on Hydras, but I can guarantee defense either here or here. I'm going to have vision control no matter where he attacks from. Probably the most open angle of attack coming in from Sortof, but he's really got to max out before he engages.
Well, I mean, I don't see any pre-200, 200 timing that he has. He's probably going to do that just straight up on a Hydra Roach. I can't see him doing anything else. A little bit of an attack at the third base was cleaned up, by the way. An Infestor over there, just like at the natural. Sort of cleans that up very easily.
Sort of just making weird, big upgrade missteps. I mean, +1 range, that is the reason you get Hydras, is because they outrange things so big. I mean, it's not really talked about that much, but the Terran is outranged by the Hydralisk, so it's a great way to kill off every single thing that they could possibly have. But right now in this position, I mean, it's smart to go for the max timing, but you don't have range. Oh, Greetorp, this could go very really poorly for Sortof.
Because if you look, Grief Spine is already upgraded, or it's about to be upgraded for viOLet, so it's really unfortunate what we're seeing right now. This timing is actually going to work heavily against him. Big fungal growth on top of all of those infestors. And I love what we're seeing.
Hydralisk not firing in the back. Same as he has before. And it looks like this time viOLet gets the decisive concave advantage and shoves Sortof back.
So very clever, dodging all those infested Terrans, going for the meat, the real units on the bottom and the top, and just saying, I'll deal with all you infested Terrans later, and then he uses most of his Hydras to clean everything up. Really well done, but of course we know it's kind of an unfortunate turn of events with all the upgrade problems that we're seeing from Sortof. I mean, not only does he not have patching glands, he doesn't have the key Groove Spines.
You know, we're still seeing that there's a lot of money in the bank, not yet maxed. Again, there's a little bit of a larva problem. Now we're finally starting to see all the money dwindle in the food remax again, but without a macro hatch, the real key piece to these back and forth battles on this map, Zing sort of starts to struggle. And here we have viOLet now stepping in with an excellent little push. Has these extractors up, getting himself a big excessive gas, and oh no, the concave's been broken. Sortof doesn't have enough energy to throw down the restricting fungals. Sortof's gonna have to desperately throw down these infested Terrans, with viOLet instantly then fungals himself.
But viOLet has the perfect position. I mean, he has the better concave, more infestors with energy, and better unit quality. So he's gonna bust in here, and just like Sortof has been doing to all Zergs he played against today, viOLet is the one now taking out the fourth base, and he's going to lean on his opponent yet again.
What an excellent move. A clear advantage up. Greater Spire Ultralisk, any Hive tech he wishes to do. He is in clean, easy shape to do it, and all he's got to do is continue to shut down this fourth.
And you know what's funny? viOLet is actually playing the way Sortof would normally play.
Yeah.
He's just playing absolutely standard, nothing tricky, no counterattacking, no super big attack or counterattack to really catch his opponent off guard, just straight up positioning, I'm going to outplay you.
Here we see a huge flood of units, but 2-2 for viOLet against 1-2 upgrades. Not enough energy at this point for Sortof, and viOLet is going to just crush his way through. The battle at the fourth base goes to viOLet. Good game. The series ties up 1-1.